Well, yes, it's a change in the jewelry sector and something that the jewelers and the industry still is looking at. And we are joined by Mr. Colin Shah, who's chairman at the Gems and Jewelry Export Council. Mr. Shah, hi, good to have you. How do you read the jewelry sector being brought under PMLA? The documents are now mandatory for transactions above rupees 10 lakhs. What is the kind of ticket size that actually goes for that? Would it only impact the bigger jewelers or the metros? How are you reading into this?
So thanks, Manisha. On the PMLA Act, there are three aspects. So one is there is KYC over every transaction over rupees 50,000 rupees. There is a monthly filing of returns within 15 days. And there is a responsibility to report a suspicious transaction within 7 days. Now, this is all the responsibility of the jeweler. The challenges to this, as our trade foresees it, is that KYC of every person walking in is practically impossible because nobody walks into a jewelry store with their Aadhaar card, PAN card, everything, like the entire KYC documents that you would typically have when you're starting a bank account. So it's not practical. Secondly, the law is a little vague today on who is a customer. So the definition of the customer is vague. And thirdly, and I guess that is the more worrying thing for all of us over here, all the jewelry retailers, is that when it is said it's a suspicious transaction, how do you define what is suspicious? So there are three challenges here. So if, say, a typical salesperson, if he has to figure out when he's doing a transaction of jewelry that this is suspicious, he'll have to go through the same kind of training which a bank manager goes through, or an insurance dealer goes through, or a forex dealer goes through. So the practicality of this is practically not there, I would say. So
well,
the
also,
entire legal burden...
the point is that a lot of buyers now have, in any case, shifted to online, or people pay by cards and etc. In that sense, also, do you think all of this paperwork, or the documentation will need to be done?
No, so that's the worrying part. No? So if what clarification we would need from the government is that if a customer is recognized under any tax law, whether it is income tax, GST, then that customer we should not be required to do a KYC on. Because, somewhere in the tax man in India, he's already established as a customer.
Right.
So if that clarification is done, then it will take some amount of burden away from the compliance that a jeweler has to go through today.
So would you say this is more...
Sorry?
Yeah, go on.
No, I'm just saying that PMLA as an act, of course, it's there globally. The practicality of doing it on transactions over 50,000 is maybe not there. So our request would be that today, like it is under 2 lakhs, you don't need to do, KYC, and over 2 lakhs. I think if the government continues with that, then I guess industry will be okay. Otherwise, it will become very challenging to do this if all the legal, burden lies with the jeweler. So it'll practically not be possible only, I guess, to even do this to begin with. So let's see. We are hopeful that the necessary clarifications will come out and industry will be able to conduct its business in a normal way.
Also, Colin, with the budget round the corner, I know we spoke to you earlier on what the industry presentations were to the finance minister. In the light of this latest development, what do you think, on what side are we headed, direction are we headed when it comes to budget and the industry?
So we still continue to persist with what we've asked for. Our dream of becoming the prime manufacturing and trading hub for gems and jewelry across the world stays. And if that has to happen, tariffs must come down. So the duty reductions that we've asked for on gold, platinum and silver, and the duty reduction that we've asked for in diamonds and gemstones. So we still continue that we would like that to happen if we have to be seriously competitive with our neighboring countries. So we are hopeful that that will be looked into with a positive note. The other are more clarificatory in nature, which is the turnover tax on rough diamonds sold in special notified zones, the clarification that we need on the equalization levy. And what we really need, and maybe is the need of the hour for, I guess, all industries in India, is a comprehensive e-commerce policy, which will allow us to sell to any corner in the world. in a speedy way and in a cost-efficient way, which right now from India we are unable to do. So we are hoping that there is a comprehensive e-commerce policy soon.
Sure.
So all in all, those are our budget expectations.
Well, yes. You know, the other thing that the industry and the ministry has been talking about also is the comprehensive gold policy. Do you see that coming in light? And also this whole thing about on how gold now, because it's a financial asset, so the KYC rules that apply to it, other financial products and perhaps white goods, etc., may be extended to gold as well.
See, a comprehensive gold policy is on the cards, has been for a couple of years now, and we are hoping that it's done now, as in this year. The gold monetization scheme also, the new avatar, is something which we are expecting soon. And further to gold policy, even a new SEZ policy is something which we're really hoping happens this year. So with everything which has happened, I guess, last year, and with the pandemic and China taking a little bit of beating, I guess, across the world, India's time has come. And I guess if these things are done, then, at least for the gems and jewelry sector, it will be easier to scale to the next level, I would say. I mean, we are growing, exports are happening, but I'm saying from this $30-35 billion level to reach $70 billion, say, in the next 3 to 5 year period, that speed would get accelerated if we have these policy booster doses done.